Okay, let's do something different today. For a minute, forget about farming, guides, and builds that you usually see on this channel. Let's talk about something else. More than 2 years ago, I started playing this Warframe. What got my attention was Oberon Prime. It was like 3 days after his release that I've seen the trailer video, and that's the time I decided to check Warframe. Like it or not, this game is astonishing when it comes to graphics, and this is one of the reasons why people play the game. You might say that substance is still better over form, and a good fun gameplay experience always beats fancy looking cinematics, but Warframe isn't just about good looks, as it offers more depth compared to other AAA game titles out there. But then again, not all games are perfect. Once you get into Warframe, you'll understand the frustration of the community, and how hard it is for the developer to keep the game running for several years and giving satisfaction to their player base. So, if you have a couple of minutes to spare, join me as I share with you my years of experience Warframe, and we will uncover the beauty and dark side of this power fantasy game. So let's get back where we left off. As I've said earlier, Warframe is very pleasing to the eye. Their cinematics is just a taste of how well designed each model in the game is. When you look at what the player base is doing with their Warframes, then you'll probably say that this game is an absolute beauty. Often called the endgame of Warframe, this thing called fashion frame is one of the reasons that players enjoy the game. And this is where the developer usually gets their money. This game has a variety of customizations for your characters, and every Warframe has its unique set of helms, body structures, and you can even change colors from tons of color palettes you can choose from. Not to mention that they also offer attachments on your shoulders, chests, and legs, and even a cyan diner to make your frame look even good. There are tons of free stuff available which will make your character look good, but if into serious fashion, then there are the prime accessories and Tenogen, which are the main money makers for the developers. Not all skins are made by Digital Extremes, and in fact, the Tenogen are made by various artists. Anyone can send their work to the developer, and if they approved it, then your work will be immortalized in the game and you'll receive compensation. In a way, this somehow helps artists get recognized for their work. But skins are not the only thing available on the market. Lots of stuff are also included, like blueprints and boosters that would make either leveling your frames and weapons faster, or make farming stuff a lot easier. This is the reason that some people say that Warframe is pay to win, since you can buy stuff on the market to help the progression a lot easier. Well, this will be true if only platinum is not obtainable for trading prime parts or other sorts of materials to another player. Warframe is free to play, and this is a big fact. Platinum is not something that you can just buy with real money, but you can obtain it through hard work in the game. Everything sellable to other players can be purchased with platinum and the other way around. I've covered a lot of guides in this channel on how to make platinum fast, and these guides are just proof that you can get this in-game currency as a free-to-play game. Another reason why Warframe is so unique compared to other games is its modding system. I've seen a couple of games doing the same thing, but not as intricate as the mod system of this game. Every mod you put into your frames and weapons will affect how they'll perform in a mission. There are a variety of mods to select from. On your frames, you can select mods that increase the strength, range, duration of abilities, and decrease the energy consumption of each ability. Also, there are what I call gimmicky mods. It may not add something to the main stats of your frame, but they do add a new way of playing your frame. I'm not just talking about augments here, but also those mods like handspring and sure-footed, which gives a quality of life improvement to your frame. We will discuss these types of mods later, but let's move on to the weapons section. Just like the Warframe mods, the weapons section got a variety of mods to choose from, ranging from damage mods to critical mods, to status mods, and to those mods that increase fire rate, reload speed, add extra magazine, and a whole lot more. Honestly, the mod system makes the game interesting and fun, since getting a new frame, or a new weapon would warrant a new experiments on how to make it powerful with the modding system. However, there's a downside to this system, and this is what we call meta. Warframe abilities do scale with mods, and sometimes there's a mod setup which is universally good that hinders everyone from experimenting with all the other fun stuff they can do with the frame. This is what we call meta, which often leads to believing that a specific frame is only good for a specific mission. The modding system offers a variety of mods to experiment on, but Some players tend to not try all because, in reality, there are mods that create a meta, while there are mods that are called trash because they don't help a frame or a weapon kill faster. This is the fact why the modding system isn't used to its full potential. The phrase "if it doesn't kill everything fast, then it's trash" is very true in the perception of many, but this is bad since it kills the fun of experimentation with other build varieties. Admittedly, I won't bother putting any resist damage mods over those important mods on my frame, but using the same universal mod setup for a frame is certainly not my style, and sometimes breaking the meta, or creating a new one, would lead to hate on my videos. I fully understand that Warframe is a looter game, and farming stuff the fastest way possible is always the way, but having this type of perception sometimes kills the fun of playing the game, and in this scenario, it kills the fun of exploring new build varieties that the mod system of Warframe offers. Another thing that got me super addicted to Warframe is that this game does offer a lot of things. The newbie experience was kind of fascinating for me, as progressing through the star chart, unlocking all the nodes, and killing each boss was a fun experience. But squad leader, those are boring missions? Yes, it is for those who already unlocked all the nodes and know every story quests. But for a newbie, discovering new things, and progressing to story-driven quests is very entertaining. To be honest, the story quests of Warframe is brilliantly made. My favorite one is the Second Dream, and knowing the background of each character in the game, and knowing the history of Sentients, Orokins, and other factions in the game will get you hooked up to play more and more each day. Aside from the star chart and lore, there are a variety of things to do after you completed the star chart. There are the open world areas which offer mini games like mining, fishing, skateboarding, and there are the big leagues, which are Idolin hunting, orb mother fights, or doing bounty missions like isolation vaults. On top of that, there are plenty of missions that you can dive into and collect loot. There's the arbitration mission, sanctuary onslaught, or even Kuvalich hunting. This is good for a new player since you'll be looking forward to trying all the activities in the game. However, happiness always comes with a price. Honestly, I was lost in the first few hours of playing Warframe in the past. I was asking myself, what the hell am I doing? It doesn't have any clear direction on what to do and where to go next. After you woke up from your long slumber, you then progress to star chart missions. After that, I was confused about what to do next because there are many things presented, but I actually don't know what I was aiming for. Every single step of the way, you unlock something, but it's not clear whether it's important to do or not. You are given free will to choose what path you take first, and if you have chosen to focus on a certain activity, then you sacrifice another activity and often would miss out on the rewards tied to that activity. You will feel excited at first, but once you go deep into the game, it feels like a chore since you'll need to farm these things first, before you can efficiently do this type of mission. Long story short, the game becomes an absolute grind fest, and this is where player burnout starts. The time when you feel that you need to play the game is the time you are getting second thoughts about whether or not is it worth continuing to log into Warframe, but that doesn't stop there. It actually gets worse if you managed to get all the good stuff in the game. Once you have farmed all the epic loot, and you can say that you are about 90% complete on your collection, you will ask yourself, is it worth grinding all this stuff? What the heck will I do with all of these? You will feel that dilemma of needing something that will challenge you in the game because all of the stuff you grinded will make your operator, frame, and weapons powerful, that you will almost feel that you are the villain of the game. And when this happens, the discussion often leads to Warframe has no endgame content. Is this true? Or are we just fed up with this game because we all have everything? Maybe Warframe has no endgame, but we just finally reach the end of playing the game. Through the years, I have seen a lot of updates, and every time a new activity or event arrives, it all leads up to one thing, and that is farming new stuff to make my character even more powerful. For a veteran player, all it matters is collecting all the new stuff, while for a newbie, it's either you get excited about the new stuff, or delete the game because you feel that it's becoming a tedious chore. Honestly, it's not the fault of the game. You see, this situation that we have with Warframe is like playing a role-playing game. Most single-player RPG released right now involves open-world areas, and you have the option to do either main quests, or go into exploration and do side quests. The ones who will do the main quests will enjoy the game more. Why? It's because, once you dive into exploration, then collect those powerful loots and level up through all those side quests, you will end up getting disappointed in the final boss fights because it's quite easy. This is also occurring in Warframe. Veterans have done all the side quests in the game, collected all the loot, that whatever the developer throws at them is barely a challenge. Believe it or not, Digital Extremes tried to make the game challenging. First it was Sanctuary Onslaught, which offers scaling level enemies. Then, they release Arbitration, which is basically a survival mission with some modifiers and floating beacons that will make enemies invincible. And then, they released Steel Path. All of these updates were a failure of making the game challenging because our character is already a power creep. We already have too much power that the game becomes a farming simulator instead of something full of rewarding activities. Yes, I do believe that Warframe has no endgame because it's evolving. I would like to commend the developer for giving updates and content, and as well as constantly dealing with criticisms for years takes a lot of dedication. However, I'm not a fan of how they release something, then forget about it after a couple of months. Every time the game updates, or add new activities, it feels like the old ones become useless. I know they are not the same mission or activity, as they don't have the same reward pool, but sometimes, these new updates and events feel redundant and it feels like the developer finally run out of ideas, copy-pasting the same concept, and adding just a bunch of gimmicky side activities on it. The first open world was a big shocker, and it was one of the biggest game changers for Warframe. It was something new and fresh to the eyes of their player base. It was so good that they copied the same concept not once, but twice. We got 3 open world areas right now, but I feel that nothing has changed. It feels the same, and the only thing that changed is how it looks. But, I'm not going to disregard what the developer did on the latest open world. The Heart of Deimos update feels like this is how the open world areas should be in terms of progression. The new token system somehow gives clarity and a sense of progression compared to other open world areas where it feels like open season always. This is just my opinion though, and you might have a different perception about the new infested open area. Another thing worth discussing is the looting system in the game. There are basically 2 ways to gain loot. One is to acquire it by chance, or often called RNG. And the other one is through farming reputations or points, then exchanging them for your desired item. The reputation or points system doesn't receive any criticism since players are fine with farming points to obtain a certain item. What pisses some of the players in the RNG system? They feel that the chances of getting a rare item are absurd, but honestly, this is expected from a game genre like Warframe. In every game which involves loot and RNG, it is expected that the chance to obtain something rare is pretty steep. In fact, Warframe's RNG is better compared to other games. I have played a couple of looter games in the past, and I honestly can say that this game doesn't have the worst RNG system. The drop chance is better, and there are better options like saving up platinum and just buying those rare items. But, what I don't get sometimes is adding crafting materials to the list of rare loot drops. Say, for example, the recent crafting materials named Scintillant. I still wonder why the hell did the developer even bother making this material rare to the public, as it's only needed for a few stuff. If somehow this will give us more points on the token system in Necrolisk, then I would just shut my mouth about it. However, it doesn't. Speaking of rare, Warframe has one of the best communities, and we know that sometimes it's hard to find a game in which most players are non-toxic and willing to help out new players. I'm not saying that it's perfect, as elitist, bullies, and toxic people still lurks in this community. But still, in my years of playing the game, I'm very lucky to be part of an awesome community that is full of good people. You see, the game may not be as perfect as we want, and there will be bugs or stuff that we hate, but the amount of joy that you get from playing or just interacting with people around the Warframe community is priceless. You may think that I've lasted this long as a content creator because of money, but honestly, it's not about getting instant cash grab in each video. It's all about enjoying the game because of people appreciating your work, and giving you some crazy ideas sometimes to experiment in the game. When I was a newbie, a bunch of players helped me out progress in the game. They also gave me lots of items for free, and mind you, my channel wasn't even known at that time. But squad leader, are you still enjoying the game? To be honest, yes I am. Some of the parts in Warframe is annoying sometimes, like farming for stuff, and honestly, I feel like it's a tedious task. However, Instead of persuading myself to do something that I don't like in the game, I just step away from it and do another thing instead. That's the good thing about having so many things to do in this game. You can just jump back and forth between activities and find something enjoyable. In my case, I enjoy experimenting with warframes and weapons, and this alone helps me keep playing the game for this long time. On top of that, outside of the game, I feel comfortable with the community sharing ideas and just messing around with things to test out in the game. Honestly speaking, 2 years is not enough time to consider myself as a veteran. In fact, I have several things in the game that I don't own yet, and still, I'm not going to burn myself out farming all those stuff. The key to not diminishing the fun of playing Warframe is to not make it as your daily chore. Just experiment on stuff and enjoy the game. But if you are a veteran, I know that you probably have seen everything, and honestly, I'm also asking for something different in the game. The Empyrean update was supposed to be the new joy in our taste buds, but the implementation of the update was worse than any other updates that we've seen in the game. It feels out of place and the grind was terrible that people step away from the railjack missions. I'm hoping that we will see a fresh new update in the future, but in the meantime, stick around with me as I'll give you some things to enjoy in the game. So this is my personal review of the game. I know many have been asking me to do this, and I'm sorry that it took long for this video to come out. You see, a game with so many things to do would take a few months to review. I even made it a year so I can share a very personal experience with you guys on whether this game is bad or good. Thank you again for your patience and support, and I'll see you at the next one. Squad Leader signing off.
This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future.